Okay, welcome back to Bad Luck and Magic. We are gonna check the vibes this week, honey. And before we get into everything, I'm on my shit this week, so let's go ahead and get started with some announcements so you know what I got going on and what I can offer you. So first, do you want to be more intentional and aligned in your day-to-day? I got you. Join the Cosmic Club. Every week, I break down the cosmic vibes and energies into a day-by-day forecast. So it's from Monday to Sunday, and I provide details on what signs the moon is traveling through and the major aspects that are happening so that we can best prepare for the challenges that we're expecting, as well as any new opportunities that we can take advantage of. I also dive deeper into the new moons and the full moons that happen every month, and that's where I go and provide rituals, horoscopes, tarot spreads, and thought-provoking questions so that you can manifest and receive abundance using the unique energies from that lunation. You can also try a month free using the promo code FIRSTFREE. That's 1STRFEE, and the details will be in the show notes. And after that, it's $3.33. And you can cancel at any time, of course. So also know that when you sign up for this, members get 10% off any cosmic coaching sessions, and also you have access to the iCalendar, basically you can access all of the weekly details from your iPhone. Simple as that. 2, if you're ready to realign with who you are today and launch yourself into your next level, you have got to check out this digital guide that I created. I mean, not to boast or brag, but it's incredible. It is the 2025 Aligned as Fuck guide, and it's a 4-part guide that uses your unique creativity and intuition and astrology to help you, 1, reflect on your 2024, 2, discover what alignment means for you today, 3, visualizing your ideal 2025, and 4, creating a plan of action to help make your vision a reality. Like, I've done it, obviously, and I'm already starting to see my vision come to life because I was able to clear out some of the old energy, realign with where I am now, and truly get in this mode of attracting what I'm trying to call in. Like, you know what I mean? It's very cute. It's very cute. I spent a lot of time on it. So go check that out. If you are a Cosmic Club member, you get this for free. If you're not, then I would go check it out. Anywho, what else we got? Oh, and what I want to say about that, obviously 2025 started in January, but astrologically speaking, we aren't really starting a new year until spring happens, until the spring equinox, until Aries season starts. So honestly, right now is the best time to take a look at this, especially since Mars will be going direct soon. So we're going to be feeling more motivated and more inspired to take action in our external world. And we also have Venus and Mercury that will be going retrograde here soon. So it is a good time to reassess what we value, what we actually care about, and maybe even like reflecting on how we need to shift our mindset as we move into this astrological new year. I mean, it's awesome. It's awesome. Okay, 3. Do you enjoy reading, spirituality, and good conversations? If you do, you should totally join our virtual book club that my fellow coach friend Nicole and I are hosting. So we're going to start that on Tuesday, March 11th, and we will meet every other Tuesday from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I'll have a link to the event page and the Zoom link and all of that in the show notes, but we will be starting with Women Who Run with the Wolves by Clarissa Pinkola Estes. And yeah, I'm excited to read that. This is a women's only book club, but maybe at some point we'll have some fellas join. But anyway, we are just trying to get inspired. We are trying to, connect with the like-minded people, and it's going to be a good time. So check that out. You can get a copy of the book online on Thrift Books. That's where I got mine. And yeah, look forward to seeing you there. 4th, let's see, check out my website. I've recently made some updates to all on my website. So if you're curious about how we can work together or where you can connect with me or any upcoming events, that's where you're going to want to go. It has everything there. Another thing is when you go onto my website, there is a prompt to sign up for my email newsletters. That's a great way to just be in the know of like what all's going on, the content that I'm creating, and any offerings or events. Again, I only send out one a week. I usually try to send it on Sunday, so check that out. It's not annoying. And then, as always, if you've enjoyed this episode, or as you listen and you enjoy it, please give your girl a subscribe and rate the show 5 stars to help the podcast reach more people. Thank you. Okay, moving on. What are we talking about this week? This week is all about recalibrating our relationship to love and finances. Why is this? This is because Venus will be going retrograde through the sign of Aries and then eventually into Pisces starting on March 1st, which will be happening at the end of this week. So this week, we are swimming in dreamy Pisces energy. We have multiple planets making significant aspects in this changeable, mutable sign, as well as a new moon in Pisces on Thursday. Not to mention that this new moon will be linked to the full moon lunar eclipse that we will be experiencing on September 7th of this year. So be sure to charge your crystals, get out your tarot cards, and use your intuition and creativity to set the intentions of what you're trying to call in over the next 6 months. We end the week on Sunday where Venus slows down and goes retrograde in the sign of Aries. So over the next 40 days, buckle up, because we've got the planet of love and money asking us to sit down and rethink how we want to show up in these areas and what we have been learning around our self-worth, what we value, what we love, and what we spend our money on. Also, Mercury will be going retrograde in a couple of weeks alongside Venus. So they're going to be going through this retrograde journey together. And all I want to say about all of this is come April, our lives are probably going to be looking quite different than they do now. We've been going through a lot of retrogrades recently, so it's been a lot more internal, introspective work. Now, as we're kind of getting out of some of those retrogrades and we're like getting into this eclipse energy, and also these signs, Venus, or these planets, Venus and Mercury, going retrograde, like dominoes are going to start falling and things are going to start changing at a more rapid pace. Not only that, but kind of looking more out into the future, we have a lot of the outer planets, like the slow moving planets like Neptune, Saturn, what else? Uranus, Jupiter. They are all going to be moving into new signs, which is a big deal because these planets don't move into new signs that often. So it's like brand new energy happening. So this year is going to be unlike any year we've ever experienced, for sure. So all this to say, this week, open your heart, really think about what you're trying to call in over the next 6 months, and also take this time over the next, month plus to reevaluate your relationship to love and money, okay? And like, the thing about that is they're connected. They're connected. When it comes to love, it's like we need to think about how we've been showing up. What have been the experiences that we've had in our lives when it comes to love and relationships, and learning from those experiences, and letting go of things that you're still holding on to that you no longer need to carry. Because when we have these experiences, sometimes it can be so hard to let go of the pain, let go of the hurt, let go of the love that we've had with someone else. And sometimes it's like we need to, how do I want to say this? It's like sometimes we need to forgive ourselves. Sometimes we need to forgive ourselves because we've gone through things and, maybe we put all the blame on ourselves for what happened in a situation, and that alone can hold us back from opening our hearts for ourselves and loving ourselves, but also opening our hearts and letting other people in as well. I think part of this Venus retrograde cycle is going to be about, especially since it's in Aries, and that's a very passionate, bold, independent, sometimes impulsive sign. I think we are trying to learn, what are we trying to learn? Maybe how we can stand on our own. How we can stand on our own, and we don't necessarily need love, but we also do. We also do need love, and sometimes we aren't trusting of other people based on our past experiences, and it can be very hard to let people in, or it's like wanting to see how people are willing to fight for you and for your love so that you know that you can trust them. But is that healthy? That's just something that came up to me. So we are all on our own journey, especially when it comes to love and money. And I think it's fitting that, you know, Venus is going retrograde right now, or it will be, and this is kind of like prime tax season. So honestly, personally, I'm trying to get my tax shit together so that hopefully everything's good to go and I won't have to go back and redo something. But if I go ahead and get it organized now and sent in now, and there is something that needs to be revised, it would make sense, because Venus retrograde is a time to review and reflect these themes of relationships, beauty, love, money, all of that. So check that out. Check out your budget. Like, what have you been spending money on? Is that truly reflecting your values now? Is that truly reflecting how you want to be sending out this energy? Because money is a form of energy. Money is a form of resource. Are you using your resources in a way that's supporting your long-term vision and where you're trying to go? And with Venus being in Aries, such an independent sign, I wonder if it's like, in order for you to fully be free, fully be able to step into your independence, maybe there's something about your finances and your money that you need to really face head on, even though it might suck to have to deal with it, because who wants to deal with money shit? But the more that we can just face it head on, the more we are setting ourselves up for success, especially if we're trying to be, again, more independent. Like, especially, like, Aries is a very entrepreneurial sign, so if you're trying to start your own business, like, now is a great time to really educate yourself from a financial perspective, whether it be with taxes or budgeting or investing, whatever. Also, something about that is, what are your limiting beliefs related to love and money? I think we all have those, but that's something that might be coming up for us. I think over the next month or so, as Venus and Mercury are going retrograde, we are going to be revisiting our relationships, not just romantic relationships, but our friendships, how we connect with our family, how we're connecting with the community that we're in, like what is our individual role in the dynamics we have with other people. And I think sometimes it can be so easy to be like, yeah, they're showing up wrong. They're not showing up in the way I need them to. And it's like, well, it's really both of y'all. And all we can do is express what we need and want to the other person. But at the end of the day, it's up to us to figure out, you know, if they can't, if that's not in the scope of what they're able to do, then what are you going to do then? Because then you can't really blame them. You're just seeing the reality of the situation. So what are you going to do? Venus retrograde, a couple of things. Would not suggest doing anything like beauty related that you haven't done before, like trying to get injections, Botox, I don't know, getting like your first like big tattoo, or like getting a very different haircut or hair color than you usually do. Now just isn't the time. I would wait until the end of April to do all of that. And I also would not suggest getting into a relationship during this time. Can you date? Sure. But it's really not a time to get committed, because most of the time I've read this and I've experienced this. If you start to come together with someone during Venus retrograde, it fizzles out. For whatever reason, it just fizzles out. It's on this unstable foundation, because during this period, it is really calling us to go inward and figure some things out before we take action in the external world and get other people involved. Now, if you are already in a relationship, you might be tested. It's going to be a time where you really are able to see, am I really passionate about this relationship? Do I feel like this is inspiring me, inspiring them to be a better person? Those are just questions that are going to come up during this time. It could be possible that, you know, there's some tricky things happening with finances right now. Maybe all of a sudden you have all of these bills you need to pay that are adding up. But what I want to say about that is, as much as you can, just try to remain calm. Like, sometimes with money, things go in cycles, and we have some times where money is just flowing out the door, okay? And it's not flowing in as much as we would like, but just know this is the time to be reviewing those things. And sometimes it is a major wake-up call to step more into our authority when it comes to handling our finances and just handling our shit. Again, with Aries can be a very combative sign, and I love Aries. I'm an Aries. Most of my friends are Aries. And what I want to say is, it's like the ability to be like, I'm so pissed off right now. I'm so pissed that X, Y, and Z is happening. I'm going to deal with it head on. Like, I don't even care. Like, I should have had a budget. I should have been doing this for my taxes, and I didn't. So now I'm pissed because this issue is showing up. Now, I'm just going to deal with it. I'm just going to freaking deal with it because I'm tired of it. You know what I mean? And sometimes that's what's needed, you know? And then you get into the driver's seat and you do the best you can. So that's my spiel on the vibes and energy of this week. Again, this will be happening for about 40 days into the middle of April. Again, retrogrades are not a bad thing. It is right on time. It is right on time for us to take a step back, reevaluate what we value, and reflect on how we are communicating, okay? So retrogrades are not bad. We're just going inward. Okay, so let's do a quick overview of what we got going on this week. We have the moon in Capricorn starting us off on Monday. And then on Tuesday, the moon will be moving into Aquarius. So on Monday, we might be more focused on our goals, our dreams, our career, maybe even our finances. And then on Wednesday, the moon will be in Aquarius. So we'll be feeling more drawn to community type events, more social events. And also on Tuesday, we have Mercury conjunct Saturn, and that is all about combining structure and boundaries with communication and thinking. And this is happening in Pisces, which is leading up to our new moon. So there's something here on Tuesday. We might be feeling it Monday and Wednesday as well. But we have been learning something over the last 6 months when it comes to restrictions, limits, and where we are committed, because that's what Saturn is all about. We are also, through this, we're learning to balance practicality with intuition, because Saturn is very different energy than Pisces is. Pisces is very intuitive, dreamy, idealistic, creative, and Saturn is like, what's the rules? What are the boundaries? What are the restrictions? What are we committing to? So we're going to be thinking about this. It's like we're going to be thinking about how we've been able to uphold our own boundaries, and maybe where we need to relax our boundaries and where we need to tighten up our boundaries. Then on Thursday, that's when we experience the new moon in Pisces. So we will be feeling very intuitive. We will be feeling very creative. We might be romanticizing our life a little bit, and I'm all for that. New moons are all about starting a fresh new cycle. So when we have a new moon, we always want to plant seeds of intention of what we really want to call into our lives. And I think it'll depend for you, like where you have Pisces in your chart. You know, if Pisces rules your second house, maybe you're trying to call in a new form of income. If Pisces rules over your 10th house, maybe you are trying to call in a new job that you feel more aligned with. Okay. Friday, the moon will still be in Pisces. Saturday, that will be March 1st. The moon will be in Aries, and we'll also have Venus retrograde in Aries. So we are going to be, our emotions are going to be tied to this Venus retrograde. Like, it's just a coincidence that the moon is going to be traveling through the same area that Venus will be turning retrograde. So I wonder if there's something that happens on Saturday that causes us to feel like, wow, yeah, there are some things I still need to learn and reflect on and maybe change about my finances, about my relationships, about what I value, about what I find beautiful in my life. And just because it's emotions doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. It just means that's where our emotions are going to be focused on. That makes sense to me. Okay, what else we got? Sunday, March 2nd, the moon will still be in Aries. And on that day, Mercury is not retrograde yet, but Mercury will be conjunct or right next to Neptune, as well as the North Node. So with these three placements or planets being right next to each other, I get the sense that we're going to be thinking about our life path, our destiny, our ideal dream and vision for ourselves. And because Mercury is involved, we're going to want to strategize, communicate, brainstorm, and connect the dots when it comes to what we want and how we can get there. It's also possible that we're trying to make sense of any confusion that's happening on our path, especially when it comes to spirituality, our intuition, and creativity. So the North Node is our point of destiny, where we are trying to focus our energies right now. The North Node is going to be in Pisces for I think until the middle of 2026. So over the next, 18 months, we are being called to really exemplify and express and nurture the good parts of Pisces that are within all of us, and to focus on the area of our charts that Pisces rules for us. So it is all about spirituality. It is all about intuition. It is all about creativity, and that is what we're being called to do. And I think over the next 18 months, we're going to see a lot more about new art that's being created, and more compassion, I think, for our fellow people, and more information out there when it comes to spirituality, like it not being as fringe or taboo. It'll be more mainstream. Neptune is about spirituality, but also confusion. And then Mercury is about like thinking and communication. So again, it's like we're trying to figure out what our path is and what steps we need to take next. Okay, so that's the overall vibe of the week. And as we get into the bad luck and good vibes, this is just talking about the most challenging aspects of our week, which this week will be Venus retrograde. And the challenge here is just to help us level up when it comes to our finances and our relationships. I think Venus retrograde, of course, there can be challenging moments, dealing with our finances, dealing with any kind of relationship. There are always challenges that can come up just with multiple viewpoints and personalities and motivations. I think, again, this is really here to allow us to up level. And what else do I want to say about that? It's kind of like, if you're willing to put in the work, if you're willing to sit with yourself in compassion and really look at how you've been showing up in these realms of relationships and finances, you're going to get a lot more out of this retrograde cycle than someone who is kind of blaming everyone else, blaming other external factors for the reason why their finances suck or their love life sucks. You know what I mean? Like, it's really a call for us to step into our power and understand what role we've been playing in all of this and how we actually want to move forward once Venus goes direct in April. So as we get into the mini scope, we're going to look at where Venus retrograde will be happening for each of the rising signs. You can listen for your sun sign as well, but your rising sign will be most accurate. So as I kind of mentioned at the beginning, Venus will go retrograde from Aries back into Pisces. So I'm going to tell you 2 areas of your life that you're going to be rethinking what you value, what you love, your relationships in that part of your life, and how finances are involved in that part of your life. Okay, Aries, this will be happening in your first house. So this is all about your appearance, how you express yourself, and your personal goals, as well as your 12th house. And that is all about subconscious beliefs, your healing journey, and introspection. Taurus, this will be happening in your 12th house of healing, introspection, shadow work, as well as your 11th house of friend groups, communities, clubs, even your hopes and wishes. Gemini, this will be happening in your 11th house of hopes, wishes, friend groups, communities, and your 10th house of career, public image, and your legacy. Cancer, this will be happening in your 10th house of career, legacy, and public image, and your 9th house of higher education, travel, and spiritual beliefs. Leo, this will be happening in your 9th house of spiritual beliefs, higher education, and travel, and your 8th house of mental health, personal transformation, and intimate relationships. Virgo, this will be happening in your 8th house of intimate relationships, mental health, psychology, and your 7th house of close one-on-one relationships, clients, business partnerships, and marriage. Libra, this will be happening in your 7th house of marriage, one-on-one partnerships, and clients, as well as your 6th house of health, wellness, daily routines, and pets. Scorpio, this will be happening in your 6th house of pets, daily routines, health, wellness, and your 5th house of creative projects, romance, dating, inner child, and children. Sagittarius, this will be happening in your 5th house of, 5th house of creative projects, romance, fun, children, and your 4th house of home and private life and your sense of emotional stability. Capricorn, this will happen in your 4th house of family, home, financial stability, as well as your 3rd house of communication, local neighborhood, and siblings and cousins. Aquarius, this will be happening in your 3rd house of local neighborhood, communication, siblings, and extended family, as well as your 2nd house of finances, self-worth, and material possessions. And then lastly, Pisces, this will be happening in your 2nd house of finances, self-worth, and values, and your 1st house of your appearance, your body, your health, your personal goals. So these are the areas you're going to be reflecting on. You are going to be reflecting on these 2 areas of your life, not just with your head, but also with your heart. Because again, Venus and Mercury will be going retrograde through these 2 parts of your chart. So that's that. Moving on to the tarot message of the week. So as always, I want you to think about what card you want to pull. It could be card 1, card 2, card 3, and we'll get started. So if you pulled card number 1, you got the Fool. And the Fool is all about embarking on a new journey, taking risks, being curious about a new path, even traveling or going somewhere new. And it's also this feeling of like being ready to be a beginner at something, and you're like excited about it. So the advice for you is to just embrace this new beginning, really see it as starting a new path and starting a new chapter. If you chose card number 2, you got the 9 of Wands reversed. So when this card is upright, it's kind of like, oh, you may be feeling overwhelmed, but you're finding how to be resilient and persevere through the challenges. But when it's reversed, you might be wondering if all this hard work that you're putting in is even worth it. It's like you're just feeling straight up overwhelmed and maybe struggling to stay determined on this path that you're going down. It's also giving like you may need to revisit your boundaries, how you're spending your time, what you're saying yes to, and needing to release the pressure that you've been putting on yourself lately. So the advice here is, instead of just like forging ahead at all cost, this card is really asking you to pause, and really reassess where you are now and where you're trying to go and where you are spending your energy. Like, especially if you have been like sick, for example. Getting sick often is trying to tell us to slow the hell down. So please get some rest. Please just assess where you are and like where you can release some of the responsibility, pressure, and control, because you can't do it all. And then if you got card number 3, you got the Knight of Pentacles. And this is all about steady progress, taking action towards your goals, being very practical and responsible, playing the long game, okay? And the advice is to reflect on the progress that you've been making recently to keep yourself motivated and patient. So with this card, it is all about steady, slow progress. So when that happens, you know, I think it can be sometimes hard to stay motivated, and we can kind of lose track of the little wins along the way. So take some time out to make sure that you really are looking at some of the recent wins that you've been able to create for yourself. And last but not least, we got the soul care inspo of the week. This is inspired, like self-care ideas that are inspired by some of the aspects or astrology vibes that are happening. So with Mercury conjunct Saturn in Pisces, this is a chance to enter the portal into your soul, okay? This is really just a different way of saying meditation. Which said another way is simply connecting to our breath, bringing awareness to our body, and bringing awareness to our thoughts and our emotions, okay? It doesn't have to be complicated, but when we take time to intentionally get still and move through these 4 steps, we really are able to know ourselves on such a deeper level, and we're able to connect with our higher self, our intuition that ultimately is guiding us to the best lives that we could live. Okay, with the new moon in Pisces, we're going to let go of control, which is hard to do, okay? So we're going to reflect on an area of our lives that we've been maybe spiraling, okay? Maybe we've been ruminating a certain area of our life, and we've been ruminating because we're trying to know what the outcome is going to be. Maybe it's love, maybe it's money, maybe it's career or health. But what I want you to do is write out exactly how you're feeling about this particular area. What are some of the thoughts that are coming up for you? Then I want you to write out, with this particular situation, what do I have control over? Write it all out. And then I want you to write out, what don't I have control over? Like, yeah. So with the section of what do I have control over, that's your to-do list, right? Like, that's the things that you can tackle head on and know that, okay, if I get this done, this is going to alleviate some of this anxiety because I know that I'm doing all that I can and that's within my control to take care of. But everything else, I don't have control over. So I have to release it. So what you're going to do is you'll take the paper, you're going to rip it into shreds and throw it away and release it, and imagine yourself relinquishing the control to know what the outcome is, okay? And just know that you're handling what you can, and everything else you're surrendering to a higher power, okay? It's like, sometimes we try to control and plan and have it our way, But what if our way isn't even the best way? What if it isn't even the best way? So sometimes we have to create space. And I'm not saying, like, if you have a major issue, if you have a major health crisis, I'm not saying don't do anything about it. Let go, let God, pray about it. That's not what I'm saying. That is not what I'm saying. I think you get what I'm saying, though. I trust that you get what I'm saying. Okay. Venus retrograde in Aries. What we're going to do here is reconnect with a favorite pastime from your teen years, okay? So how often do we take time to reconnect with our 16-year-old self? I feel like it's not that often. And really, that was such a pivotal time in our lives because we started to become more aware of our individuality. And I feel like picking back up on a hobby or a pastime or creative project that we loved back then can really be incredibly insightful, but also empowering, because now we're seeing our past selves with more love, respect, and appreciation than we ever have before. I personally love that one. I used to, back in the day, back in high school, I had a keyboard and I would go on YouTube, look up tutorials how to play, because I don't know how to play music, and I would record myself and put it on YouTube, whatever, singing Journey or singing Kate Nash, I don't even know. But it really brought me a lot of joy. Like, think back to what you did back then that helped you lose track of time. You know, often I feel like the creative projects that we did when we were 16, I feel like they were there to help us. They were there to support us. Maybe we didn't always feel supported at home with our family or with our parents, or maybe we didn't feel supported at school, or we didn't feel supported in friend groups at that point in time. Maybe a little bit of all of it. Or maybe we just felt insecure, you know? And it's like what we did to be able to alleviate some of that pain. I mean, we gotta respect that. We gotta respect what helped us through those difficult times. And not to say everybody at 16 had a difficult time, but I think 16 or your teens in general can be a difficult time for sure. So it can be pretty cool to reconnect with that side of us. Okay, that was a lot. I think. All right. Well, if you stayed, I really appreciate you, and I appreciate you, whatever. I appreciate you. How else can I say that? I hope you have a wonderful week, and don't worry about the Venus retrograde. It's gonna be fine. I will say, you know, everything that's meant to happen is gonna happen. Okay? So that's that. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next time. Love ya. Bye.